So we've already talked about tax lien basics. We've talked about how we get paid. Now let's talk a little bit about what happens if we don't get paid. I want to make sure everybody realizes in the majority of cases, the property owner is gonna pay. When I first heard about tax lien certificates, it was always this thing about getting a property. And the reality is it happens very, very infrequently. So if you came in expecting that you're going to buy a tax lien certificate and you're going to get a property on a majority of them or half of them, it's just really not the case. But when it does happen, we want to be prepared for it. In a lot of cases, this is an opportunity for us to make a lot more money. We talked about a couple examples before about a property in the state of Florida. So let's come back to that same property. And let's dive a little bit deeper into it. So we're going to talk about a property here in Florida that had a $1,000 unpaid taxes. Now, the majority of properties across the United States, especially single-family homes, have a mortgage placed on them. It's just really hard for most Americans to come in and buy a property cash. When you create or when you buy a house and the bank issues you money to buy that property, they're going to protect their interest by putting a mortgage on the property. So in real estate law, we operate this principle that we call first in, first out, which just means that liens that are placed on the property go in chronological order. It's not based on which has the higher dollar amount, it's all chronology. So the first entity to place a lien on the property is the first one that's going to get paid off when the property sells. So the mortgage comes in, and let's just throw some numbers in here. Let's just say there is a $200,000 mortgage. A couple years later, the homeowner decides that they want to tap into some of the equity of that home. Maybe they want to put a pool in. And so they get something that we would call a home equity line of credit. And they pull out a $100,000 home equity line of credit. So that home equity line of credit is in what we would call second position. Now, a couple years after that, the property owner decides that they want to build a deck. And so they hire a contractor to build the deck. And let's say they get into a dispute with the contractor and for whatever reason decide not to pay the contractor. Maybe they ran out of money. Maybe they didn't like the quality. And so they just said, we're not going to pay you. So in order for the contractor to protect his interest, he puts on something called a mechanics lien on the property in the amount that he is still owed. So let's put that a dollar amount of $30,000. So the property owner in this situation has actually three liens on the property. They have a mortgage, they have a home equity line of credit, and they have a mechanics lien. So if they were to sell this property, the liens would get paid off in the order that they were put on them. So the mortgage would get paid off first, that first $200,000, then the home equity line of credit would get paid off, and then the mechanics lien would get paid off. Now, if for whatever reason the property owner didn't pay one of their liens, the priority of foreclosure is an interesting case study as well. So if I'm the mortgage company, I decide that I want to foreclose because the property owner isn't living up to the terms of the mortgage, then when I foreclose, I don't care about position number 2 and position number 3 because they're behind me. And so if I foreclose and the property doesn't get enough money, as long as it pays me, I don't care about the HELOC and the mechanics lien. But if I'm the contractor and I foreclose, I'm in third position. So I do care about foreclosing because in order for me to get my $30,000, I've got to pay off the mortgage and the HELOC that are ahead of me. Now I want to read you something that's really interesting. So this is the state statute for Arizona pertaining to tax lien certificates. It says a tax lien certificate is prior and superior to all other liens and encumbrances on the property. So that's Arizona, but Florida has something similar. Colorado's is similar. So if we look at this and say, okay, our tax lien certificate is here. The property owner stopped paying their taxes and it's for $1,000. Now, chronologically, they're fourth position. But because the tax lien is created by the government, it doesn't follow the first in, first out regulation. It's the government, so they can do whatever they want. So this tax lien goes to the top. Now, as the certificate holder, because I've now partnered with the county government, My position is secured by this tax lien. I'm now in first position. I'm not in fourth, I'm in first. So as the certificate holder, I have the opportunity to foreclose on this property and take ownership if and when I decide to. When I decide to do that, I'm in first position. If I was in fourth position, I would have to satisfy all of the other liens to take possession of it. By being in first position, I don't have to satisfy all those other liens. So it's one of the reasons that we really enjoy tax lien investing is because our positions, our investments are secured because of our relationship with the government. Tune in next time, learn some more cool facts.